Well, if the Republicans win next week, what's the plan? The media is already there, warning them against extreme partisanship. Don't act nuts, the hacks say, though it's the hacks who brand them as nuts. Funny, they never did that in 2009 when the kids took over. So what's the plan? Restoration. The president's rare combo of arrogance and incompetence has left us trashed and vulnerable. What was once cool years ago is now cold. Like Fonzie at 70, leather has been replaced by Life Alert. It's time to address the real concerns, security and strength, America becoming America again. First thing, restore the military. That's the real safety net. Restore the border. And while you're at it, the White House too. As it stands, any crazy person can trespass both. Energy independence. You want cheaper, cleaner fuel, more jobs, and freedom from madmen? Frack the hell out of the place. Don't forget the pipeline, tax reform, a passed budget, and why not a special prosecutor for the IRS? That would be nice. But there's one thing all Americans need stat, and that's unity. Life's been rough, thanks to a cult that thinks everything pre-Obama was evil. They waged a war on all things that worked. No more. Time to restore the value of achievement, put industry ahead of identity, patriotism, not pigment. We must return to the global stage with a pow, not a bow. The GOP vision must be of strength, rejecting envy in favor of opportunity. It should not simply be right, but persuasively so, creating new ways to say what's always mattered. It's the uniform of the happy warrior. Let's dust it off. If we're lucky, it still might fit. So, what are you giggling about, you crazy person?
I was thinking about your last line there, and if you were like thinking about something else this morning. But you said that you needed to slim down.
Oh, that's true. I'm having problems getting into my Calvins. Right. Those are my jeans, ladies and gentlemen. Kimberly, we're going to go around the table.
I want to wear the Happy Warrior costume tomorrow morning. About 8:45 on Costume Brand.
Excellent. What should their plan be?
I'll tell you.
Or plan A.
So I've heard they have a war room set up. They need to be on point with a succinct, persuasive message to fend off the attacks that will come, that this is the end of the world if the Republicans get some sweeping wins like we anticipate they will. Because right away we're going to have people like Bob Beckel and his brethren saying that this is fanatical, the Tea Party, it's the end of the United States as we know it. The war of the on women has just stepped up to a whole other level. Those are going to be some of the things, because then they're going to try and do everything they can to frighten everyone into voting for a Democratic president in 2016.
Yeah, I love how the media is already saying, they're telling if you win, you still have to act like you lost, which means compromise. Right, Bob?
Oh, yeah, sorry.
They never say that to the Democrats.
Look at my notes here.
Solitaire. Yeah. Thank you.
First of all, listen to your opening, as usual. It was Sominic's joke. Not Sominic's joke. No. This is antidepressant pills will go on the increase. Things are fine. I mean, I don't know why you're so freaked out about everything. Your military is stronger than it's ever been. It's been as funded as well as it's ever been. But having said that, I think what the Republicans need to do is pick out some things that they can win on, because they're going to have to win. And that means including getting a signature from Obama. Two places they can do that. One, fix Obamacare. Don't try to do away with it. If you open your mouth again and say we're going to do away with it, people are going to think you're as crazy as you are, and they'll send you to the nut house and say that's a typical Republican. Fix it. It can be fixed, and Democrats will go along with it. Secondly, I've said this over and over again, if they don't do tax reform this time around, they're all nuts, because they can both agree on that. There are some things that they want to put some markers down that will get vetoed, but that's all right. But at first I would start out with things that are doable, and those things that are doable are those that are not going to be vetoed.
Smart.
Eric.
So, 3 parts. We're assuming that the Republicans take the Senate, right? So you have the House and the Senate. Now all you need is the presidential signature. 3 areas. Number 1, energy independence. That means permitting, drilling on all offshore and onshore federal lands. That's the first thing you can probably get at least to the president's desk. Let him go ahead and try and pull back on that one. That'll be a tough one. He probably will say. He probably will veto that one. I don't think he's going to veto the Keystone Pipeline at this point. You get it on his desk this time. He say, "Look, we tried. It's over, folks. Let's go forward with Keystone and refineries. You get those permitting processes down pat so that we can have more refineries. That would help. That's energy. Corporate tax reform, Bob. I agree with tax reform. From the corporate side, you can immediately bring $2 trillion back to the United States with the repatriation. Just say, you know what? Let it come back. It doesn't cost America a single penny to do it, not one penny. It's sitting in overseas bank accounts. Bring it back. It's a $2 trillion stimulus package overnight. He'd be foolish to say no to that. And individual tax reform, I'd go back to Bush-era tax rates, but he'll never do it. He'll never do it, but you might as well try.
Bob even talked about that yesterday. You said to try and go back and get some kind of working deal on tax reform. Or
I think it's more than just. I think the repatriation, whatever that word is about, bringing those things back. I think that. I'm sorry.
No, I was going to say let's get Dana in.
Let's get Dana in. Fine.
Yes, and thanks for leaving the hospital and coming here to offer your insight.
My Ebola nurse.
Yes, exactly, for Halloween, pre-Halloween. What is your suggestion if you were in the White? What would?
If I was in the White House.
Not in the White House, but if
I
you
was
were
in the Senate.
Yes, or anywhere for that matter.
If I was McConnell and Boehner and I was planning for post-Tuesday situation.
You're right.
Okay, I agree with everything that's been said so far, and I would add a couple things. I would restore the defense cuts that took place during sequestration, which the Republicans did agree to. I think that everyone might be able to agree that was a bad idea, especially as we have our troops gearing up to fight ISIS or trying to fight ISIS. I would also ask the president to sign a new authorization to use military force. I think that actually would strengthen the president's hand. It would show that the Republicans are willing to help him do what is right and necessary in order to degrade and destroy ISIS. The other thing that's important is oversight. That's a congressional role. Is to look at, it's not just the White House doing things, it's all across the federal government. The last 2 years of any administration is when they try to put through all sorts of new rulemakings or to start the process of getting to them so that they jam the next administration. That's what the Clintons did to the Bushes very successfully. The last thing is, and I don't know what it is, they have to do something on Obamacare. That's what brought them to this point where they're going to be able to win. I don't know what they're going to be able to do if they want to pass something that he's going to have to veto. And then they go back to the drawing table, but there will be something on Obamacare within the first 100 days.
Drawing board. Drawing board.
Drawing board?
Yeah, there's no drawing. There's no such thing as a drawing table. I just have to point that out.
There is a drawing table if you're an architect.
Oh, maybe so, but this is a political show.
Yeah.
This isn't the Brady Bunch.
Synonym.
Kimberly, here's the thing. Talking about Obamacare, this is a good point.
I mentioned that yesterday. I agree with her.
Yes, you did. And congratulations. The winning strategy here isn't to fight symbolic battles. Like you don't want to close large, like Republicans love to, let's close the Department of Education. Is that silly? Because isn't it time to win actual battles and not fight symbolic ones?
No, I think you're right. I think they need to show that they are the party of purpose and that they can actually set a goal and achieve it and not be something that just engages in inflammatory rhetoric, but specifically set a target and acquire it. Do something that's going to have a meaningful impact for the American people that they can actually feel, because this is their opportunity between now and the presidential election to say, you gave us this chance, your decision, your trust was well earned, and now we're going to deliver on it.
Well, that of course requires that you have some sane voices, which you do in the Republican Party, if they're freed up of the Tea Party. Now, one of the ways to do that, I almost wish that the Republicans would pick up 12 seats in the House, which is what the margin would be able to get them away from those fruitcakes. And Boehner can finally run his caucus. He can finally do a job that he wants to do, which is to find common ground in some things. You leave those people with just the margin they have, which is enough, and they have been, from the time they've been elected, they have been stifling every piece of serious legislation or making it so impossible that it can't be passed by the Democrats. If Boehner gets free of the chain of those...
Thank God Harry Reid doesn't do that.
Well, that's right. But if you get rid of the chains of those people and let them go caucus out in, I don't know, Southampton or something, but get them out of here. I mean, they're a waste of time. They're bad for the country. They're bad for the country.
You could say the exact same thing about Harry Reid, and you'd be right.
Yeah, but he won't, assuming that it will go to the Senate.
I think Harry Reid is far worse.
Yeah.
So you're saying, Bob, you hope there's about 245 Republican House members.
Whatever it takes to get the fruitcakes out of the business.
That would be great, because then you can have your Tea Party caucus not part of the voting bloc that changes legislation, and you'd still have a majority in the Republican side.
That's my point.
I'm with you on that.
Nobody
Not that I'm
has a
anti-Tea
problem. I love
Party. I'm
consensus.
simply saying the more the merrier.
What about Paul
ours.
Ryan's budget? Is that going to happen? I don't know.
Well, they'll put forward a budget, and in fact, Congress should do something that's one of their jobs, is to produce a budget. That hasn't been happening. But with McConnell on the Senate side, I think you'll be able to get something done. I don't know if it will be exactly what Paul Ryan proposed before, but also some of this is irrelevant, talking about what the Congress is going to do, because hopefully they will just do enough. They should do their jobs. But let me tell you something that's going to happen on Wednesday morning. all the coverage immediately, everybody starts running to Iowa into the caucus states, and all it is 2016. And Ready for Hillary will become tired of Hillary very quickly. They're following her every single move. In some ways, she kind of needs an opponent in the Democratic primary because it's going to be so overdone so quickly that people will start to tune her out, and it'll be 2 years out.
But she's got Elizabeth Warren sort of nibbling at her ear.
Well, there'll be somebody. There's somebody's going to run against her.
You know, it's also important that they don't, if the Republicans take the Senate as well, that they don't come out and just go, here, we're going to do a whole bunch of stuff right away. Because honestly, young people have started to move. They've started to make the move towards the GOP, towards Republicans. If they come out and be really divisive right off the top, that's what they got sick of the last 4 years.
Well, it also kind of depends on what President Obama does, right? So the first thing that President Obama has to do is nominate an attorney general. And so what's it going to be? Does he want some sort of conciliatory candidate that he wants to have as his attorney general, or does he want to jam the Republicans and put them in a position of having to point out what a bad nominee he is?
Can I finally get you straightened out on this youth vote? In 2012, 56% of young people turned out to vote. In 2010, 24%.
Right.
Probably at about to be 23% this off-year election. When you say they're moving towards the GOP, most youth votes are still against the GOP. Wait a second.
In 2010,
you don't listen to facts. You don't listen to facts.
But your number's wrong. I'll listen.
Well, it's not wrong. I got it out today. I got it out of the almanac.
So did I. By the way, yesterday I was talking about the Harvard study, so that was different from what we're talking about now. However, the numbers are 18 to 29 years old. 12% of those people voted in 2010.
The 12% of the eligible voters.
Yeah.
In 2012, let me, where you get these numbers from? You've got to be getting them from your libertarian library because they're just flat wrong.
There's the poll. It's like an 8% shift, right?
Let me show you, God. If I got to show you, I'll show you.
Congressional preference since 2010.
The point is that there's no movement from young people towards Republicans except those who are Republicans.
No, there is movement.
There is
not.
Bob, okay.
Can I please show you?
I know we got to go.
Yeah.
The study I cited yesterday was the Harvard study that showed young people 18
among
to 29,
people who are going to vote.
Okay, so what?
We agree. That's what I said.
No, what I'm saying is if you take the youth population as a whole, they are not going to be in the next election. They're not moving towards Republicans. They'll be back in big numbers.
Got to move. They're yelling.
Sorry.
Someone should have taken their
Speaking of movement,
I'm happy. I just don't like statistics.
maybe we're not moving. All right, we're going to stay right here and talk for the next 45 minutes about this poll. No.